Greetings, folks. Today's episode of the Half Hour Commentary is brought to you by the fine folks at. Well, who am I kidding? Nobody's paying me to do this. I got a pocket full of quarters and I'm heading to the arcade. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Fromark here, and I'm throwing my hat in the ring to do a commentary video or a let's play or whatever the hell you want to call this shit. Anyways, I know I'm about a decade late to the game to do this, but it's something I've always kind of wanted to try to do. And I really can't do a whole lot, but I'm going to do what I can with what I got. And the end result is this playthrough of Pac-Man. I would almost not even call this a playthrough because I suck at this game. I don't really have a whole lot of experience with this game, to tell you the truth, folks. Most of my experiences with the Pac-Man franchise are from the Miss Pac-Man game, which is a million times better. Don't get me wrong, I'll probably end up playing through that at some point. But the first Pac-Man game, there's really not much to say about it that hasn't already been said. I mean, it's a timeless arcade classic. And even though I suck at it, I figured I'd give this a try, and this will probably eventually just develop into a show, I'm sure, because there's not really much you can say about Pac-Man. So I'm probably just going to use this as like a platform to just bull for a little bit with you guys. And really, I'm trying to think of a good way to start this, because I've never done anything like this before. The closest thing I've ever done was, it was a podcast that me and my buddy Helsinki Rocks AGF did. We actually did 2 episodes of it. One we did, I want to say January of 2020, and the other episode we did in January 2018. So there's a pretty long gap there, but it was fun. The experience was fun, and I honestly jump at the chance to be able to just bullshit on the air, on the microphone. And I just recently got me a microphone, and I have limited recording and editing software, but what I got... Yeah, I'm just going to leave that in there. I took a drink of water. But, yeah, so this will be a good chance for me to just talk a little bit, I guess. And y'all get to watch me suck shit at Pac-Man. And really, like I said, Miss Pac-Man, the sequel is much better, but a lot of games, a lot of franchises, a lot of classic franchises. You got your franchises here, and some of them, when they make that first game, like say Sonic the Hedgehog or Crash Bandicoot, a lot of those kind of games, while they are classic and iconic games, the sequels definitely outdo the originals, because Sonic 2 is a million times better than the first one. The first one I think is kind of a pain in the ass, really. There's a few zones in it I like say Spring Yard Zone and Starlight Zone, even the iconic Green Hill Zone, even though it's been done to death in a lot of Sonic games and a lot of Sonic nostalgia. I think maybe we ought to give some other zones a go, and maybe one thing that... Actually, no, I was about to say one thing that'd be cool is if they did stuff with levels they never did anything with before, and they actually did that in the mobile version of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which was really cool. They used the original Hidden Palace zone that was in the beta build of Sonic 2. And I guess I can use that as a good starting point for some stories and BS, because the first time I had ever played Sonic 2, I was probably 7 or 8, and I remember one of my neighbors recently moved in down the street from me, and he had 2 or 3 Sega Genesis consoles, and I was going to take one and a few games off of his hands, and he was cool with it, and
I had to give it back.
But I did get to play a little bit of Sonic 2 on that, and he also thinks that I broke his TV. I remember going over to his house to play some Sonic 2 or something like that day, and he had just got that TV, but we messed with it for a little bit, and then we turned it off. We were going to come back to it, turn the TV back on, and when we tried to turn the TV back on, nothing happened, and I got the blame for it. But just like I said, this is going to be this is all new to me. I've never really done any kind of commentary per se. And yeah, I guess I'll get back to the tangent of Sonic 2 here. I eventually got to play it again a couple of years later. This would have been late 2006. I got this, or no, early 2007. I would have got this on the GameCube. And I got my first GameCube in the Christmas of 2006. First games I got with it were, well, first game I remember getting with it was Sonic Heroes, and I played that to death. That's one of my more favorite 3D Sonic titles. And a lot of people disagree, but that's okay. Everybody's allowed to have their opinion. And I like to think of myself as one of the less cringy people in the Sonic the Hedgehog fan base. And I'm just gonna leave that at that. It's amazing how this is a Pac-Man playthrough, and I'm over here talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Eventually, I will do some of those games. If this half-hour commentary crap goes over well with you guys, I'll probably invest in the future more and more for decent equipment. The one thing I really need to get, actually, is a capture card. And what a capture card is, for those who don't know, you plug it into your game, and then you plug it into the TV, or something like that, and then you record the gameplay into this little box, and then you got your gameplays there. And see, those things are pretty cool, but they're a little expensive. And while I'm in a position where I could afford to do something like that, I also am in a position where I can't. Because I need to get new glasses. I've actually got an eye doctor's appointment scheduled soon. But, yeah, this thing's gonna age like milk. But yeah, so my experiences with the 2D Sonic games came from the Mega Collection. And that's where I got to play a lot of Sonic 2, and then I learned about the beta build of it in late 2008 through a friend of mine who was a pretty big fan of stuff, and he told me about these wonderful things called emulators, which, don't be a chump, buy the game legally, just do it, just support them. But I guess it's different whenever it's not in production anymore and it's used, and the money's not really going toward the company at this point, so people are just making money and the company's not seeing it. But, like, yeah, my experiences with Sonic 2 beta, eventually, I didn't have a computer growing up. I didn't have a computer for the longest time, and so I never got to play emulation. I never got to experience a lot of those games until late 2011, when my folks finally broke down and got one of them fancy laptops. And I played a lot of old school stuff on it, and a lot of stuff on it that a lot of stuff I grew up on, a lot of Game Boy stuff, a lot of Super Nintendo, Sega stuff. And really, that's one thing you'll probably notice more and more over time about this little half-hour commentary series, or if it evolves into a Let's Play series. I will probably end up doing more of that kind of stuff, more old school stuff. But eventually I'll get there. I've got priorities to focus on right now, and I've also got a lot of crap I'm trying to do with this channel right now. I've actually got a couple episodes recorded for this thing, and then I've got a song in the works, a cover song in the works. Actually, as of right now, I'm still recording my debut EP, Electric Moses, and I'm hoping to have that done by June. And as it looks right now, it's not looking impossible. I could probably have it done early, mid-June at the earliest. As of right now, I've got one song completed, and that one's actually here up on the channel, said and done. And I think that one turned out okay. I guess I could've. I'm really an amateur at all this crap, because I'm doing all the recording, all the editing, and I got this thing on my computer that programs drum beats, and it takes the beats and then I put them in your Sony Vegases, and then from there, what I do is I'll record a guitar part or a bass part, one of them sick little bass lines, and then I usually build the song from the ground up. Now, it's a different approach to what I used to take when I was first trying to write songs, and this is really that debut single's the farthest I've ever gotten with writing anything. Actually, that song started off as... I've been sitting on that song since probably about 2017 when I first picked up, when I was still learning how to play guitar very early on. And that was a guitar riff that I came up with when I was just messing around learning stuff. I actually got a second riff that I came up with in that time frame too. But this one actually evolved into something. This went from just being a random riff to... I wrote words to it the following year. And the words I wrote to it, the subject matter isn't too unlike what I was going for with said and done, and I feel like musically, even though it sounds a little rough, I think it turned out pretty okay for a first try. I'm not over here bragging on myself or any of that shit, don't get me wrong. But I feel like it turned out really good for what it was, and I'm hoping to get past the hurdles of making even more songs. Because now that I've proven that I can make one, I can make another, and then another, and then another. Hopefully. This isn't really... this is all new to me. Recording stuff, doing this, what I'm doing right now. This is definitely something different for the Fromark Industries channel here. And I'm really excited to see what I can do with it and to see if it picks up any traction, if anybody actually ends up watching it. But yeah, back to that song. I rewrote the lyrics a few months later and I tried to do a really bad recording of it, which I will go ahead and say I was really drunk when I recorded that, and because of that, it sounds horrible. Maybe one of these days I'll release it on the channel for shits and giggles, but yeah, that was the first attempt I'd taken at recording that song, and by then the lyrics had changed from somebody being taken advantage of to being me bitching about my workplace at the time, which I'm sure on this channel, now that I'm doing this, just bullshit, and I can get into a lot of old work stories and tales from days gone by. And I can just sit here and reminisce, and hey, maybe one of these days I can get some guests on here too. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, whenever I tried to record the song, I was pretty plastered, and it turned out bad, but amusing, and it was amusing to my coworkers and my friends because my coworker, he was also my roommate at the time, and he has this really cool recording setup in his spare bedroom, and I attempted to go in there, I think, and record the song, and I was nowhere near as ready as I was when I attempted to record it just a couple of months ago. And when I recorded it a couple of months ago, I wrote the lyrics again. This is the third time the lyrics changed. And the third time was a charm, because that's what ended up being on the final version. And yes, in case you hadn't noticed, I'm still over here sucking ass at Pac-Man. But yeah, I'm a little bit microphone shy. But hey, I could get into a few of my crazy drunken adventures. I guess I will share the tale of the time I almost accidentally burned down my ex-roommate's house. And what happened was, we had all just moved in and settled in. This was 3 or 4 years ago, and And this is when I had gotten into a habit of drinking regularly, which is something I'm definitely glad I don't do anymore. It's just not a good time anymore, and it's too much. I just feel like shit the next day, and it's not fun. But back then it was. I'm glad I grew out of it. But back then what happened was, we had all got settled in, and they threw out an old couch that they were going to burn, and we had a burning pile. So what I was going to do was I was going to burn some trash that night while I was trashed. And I thought, hey, maybe it'll be a great idea for me to burn this couch. And so I attempted to burn the couch, but I didn't move it from the tree it was propped up against. And the tree it was propped up against had a wire on it that ran to the trailer. And once I lit that couch up, it went up in flames. And we're talking big flames here. And I just walked back to his room, my roommate, and I'm just all casually like, hey, you might want to come check this out. And he's like, oh my god! And he takes off running. And he starts putting the fire out, and I'm just standing over there like, But, man, I will say this. I feel like everybody I've lived with has had to put up with quite a fair amount of shenanigans from me. And I've got a few pretty good stories built up over the years. But there's definitely a reason why I don't drink anymore, or very often anymore. And it's because of the last time I remember trying to get super drunk. It was New Year's Eve 2018, and I had bought like $70 worth of alcohol. Sorry, I lost my voice there for a second. I bought like $70 worth of alcohol, and I was going to try to drink it all in one night. And I got through almost all of it, and I felt fine. I felt sober. Like, that wasn't good. And then I felt like shit for the next few days. Like, my stomach was just done. Like, I was scared. And, man, I don't like to admit it, but I truly was scared. But, yeah, like, but yeah, stuff like that is why I don't really mess with that stuff anymore. And there's another... I'm trying to think of more classic stories. I got one from this party that me and a bunch of my old friends from school went to at what would eventually become me and one of my ex-roommates' places. And there was just so much alcohol everywhere. And we all got really drunk. One of our friends we actually lost out of our group, and everybody went to look for him at like 5 in the morning, and it turned out he was just passed out in the backyard with a bottle of, I think it was rum maybe. And another one of our friends was like just so jacked up, and he kept screaming, I'm not a fucking and started punching the wall. He actually cracked a pretty good hole in the wall that night. And I remember something one of my friends said that night. He was like, yeah, whenever you puke, that's just a reset button. And so I just kept going, and oh man, I paid for it the next day. Man, I'm just talking about everything on this thing, ain't I? And I told you all this was going to be a bumpy ride. I told you all this was going to be a bit of a shit show. So, if you weren't buckled up, I guess I should have made a better disclaimer. Or, I should have made a disclaimer. But, yeah, these... just... buckle the f*** up. But yeah, in case you hadn't noticed, Pac-Man's still going on in the background. Old Pac-Man. Good thing, though, I only had to record about a half hour of footage. And I did it off my crappy phone emulator. Whoops. But I went ahead and recorded it off that, because that's all I got right now. And most of the stuff you will see from me for a while will just be basic Game Boy Advance titles. Maybe I could do a couple of big ones here and there. No, I'm not doing Pokemon. I'm not doing Pokemon. I'm not fucking doing Pokemon. Because, well, that's... RPGs, while I like RPGs, take forever, and I'm not gonna sit here and record like 1,000 parts by myself when I don't have the resources. So I'll see what I can do in the future, but for now I'm just gonna do a couple of basic things here and there and just see if this takes off. But I've been wanting to do something like this for probably a good 7 or 8 years, probably since I started this channel back when it was still Bagelman83223. And I've only got one of my original videos from back in the day still on this channel. And it's the one I've referenced this before, and a lot of people know me or remember me as the cereal guy because I ate a bowl of cereal in front of the camera in one of my videos. And I'm glad that's the one that I still have up on YouTube to this day. Because that was probably the best one out of the 15 or so I recorded back then. All the other ones were just not very good. I remember one where I pretended to rage quit in some game, and then I just casually look at the camera and I'm like, hey folks, I'm gonna eat a bowl of yogurt in front of the camera now, and that's exactly what I did. I guess that was kind of supposed to be some kind of sequel to the cereal video that I was eating yogurt. I don't really remember what I was going for back then. But, yeah, so the first video, I did about 14 or 15 different videos back in the day. And the first one I ever remember doing was called Out of Stupidity. And I recorded this back in late 2011. And I was going to do like a Jackass-style series where I did stupid stunts in front of the camera. And the only one I ever recorded was me jumping over the hood of my mom's car. And I had this really shitty webcam on my folks' laptop, and it was like 5 in the morning when I recorded that, and so that looked like crap. All of my early videos look like crap. Heck, my videos now probably look like crap. But yeah, so I guess I'll also give a little bit of background into my gaming history, I guess. My earliest memories, I would say, were probably of my folks' Super Nintendo back when it still worked, and they still got all the games for it, and a lot of classics in there, like Mario All-Stars and Mario World, DKC, and they had that Super Nintendo since Christmas of 1992, and unfortunately it shit the bed recently, and I was thinking about surprising them with a new one, or getting them one of them SNES Minis if those haven't gone up in value. But I'm not really sure if they have or not. And I was working on my... I can't keep a single subject for very long going here, can I? I'm just all over the place. Like I said, folks, buckle up. I'm sure the next episode will be about the same. And I'm running on no sleep here. I stayed up all night recording stuff and trying to get stuff to put on the channel together, and I'm really excited to see how this turns out. I'm also thinking, yeah, I guess I'll get back to the video game history here. But yeah, some of my earliest memories were of those SNES games, and then the first game I feel like I truly fell in love with was Rayman. The original Rayman on PlayStation 1. And it's a 2D side scroller, yes, but it's probably one of the best mid-90s 2D side scrollers you will ever play. graphics are incredible, the music's incredible, the music is something else. The soundtrack alone is worth it. You can still track down copies of this game for dirt cheap, and I highly recommend it. But this game, it doesn't work around, it doesn't hold your hand for very long. Once you get to like a certain part early in the game, that thing, the difficulty just goes way the fuck up. So that's just like this commentary, you're gonna want to buckle up. And I took another drink of my water, H2O. H2O. I don't even know what this is anymore. Oh yeah, I was playing some Pac-Man over here, and holy crap, I think I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit because yeah, that's probably not gonna sound good in playback. But I don't know, I'm just I'm just giving this a go. Yeah, I'm sure this will be a glorious mess to behold whenever this reaches YouTube. And I'm sure future episodes will be too. But hopefully they'll be better. But I never claimed to be a professional at this. Heck, I don't even know if this is very interesting or not. Because I know some people don't quite get the Let's Play gaming kind of stuff, and I can see that. I've heard some people say stuff like, yeah, it kind of takes the fun out of it to watch somebody else play a game. But, I mean, I can kind of agree, but at the same time, I've always been the kind of person to enjoy listening to people bullshit. I love podcasts, I love conversations when I can hold them, when I can, like, hold a conversation with somebody. The department of the redundancy department called. But yeah, I like stuff like that, and I feel like Let's Plays and commentaries and stuff like that kind of bring that out in people, and it's fun to listen to. To me, I just think it's fun to listen to that kind of shit, and there's plenty of other people out there that do, and then there's some people that don't. But that's okay, that's alright. But yeah, so, like, Pac-Man, right? Pac-Man, how about that Pac-Man?
Get Pac-Man fever, drive me crazy.
Oh man, this is actually the first time I've used this microphone, and it's a cheap little microphone, but I guess I'll find out in the post-production how everything turned out, and we'll just see how all this goes. And I've almost made it all the way through this thing, folks. This has been a pretty bumpy ride for a first episode, but I'm glad you've all soldiered on through it with me, because I promise future episodes will be much, much better than this. And maybe, I don't know if it was a good idea to go off and do all this on the fly and just do it like this, or if maybe a script would be better next time. But then again, I don't want to force something. I want to be able to talk and naturally just let it all hang out. And I'll admit I'm pretty nervous recording this episode so far, but I've almost gotten through it, and this is the part I remember recording when I was recording this. Recording. But yeah, this is where I die, and this would be the end of the episode, or at least the end of the part. So folks, I hope that you enjoyed this glorious show, and I hope that you will stay tuned for more. And this has been Fromark of Fromark Industries, and I am signing off. Keep your stick on the ice, folks.